Which one? Which type of vehicle tends to be less fuel efficient? Who said sedans? Who said SUVs? Oh, I'm so glad. Now, the key, though, is the why. Who thinks they have a good reason why the SUVs have less fuel efficiency than the others? Nate, what do you got, bud? Now, he has some specific numbers, doesn't he? I kind of like that. He even has a complete thought. He said SUVs tend to be less fuel efficient than sedans because, but I heard you mention only kind of 1 or 2 points, right? Does anybody think that they have a better statement than that? Remember, points not so awesome. If you talk about entire chunks of data, that's better. What do you have, Michaela? Tell me what you have. You talking about a chunk of data now?
Yes.
Tell me.
The SUVs tend to be less fuel efficient because the range is from 50 to 22, and then sedans range is 22 to 40.
Ooh, she talked about both ranges. I would say that's a step up from Nate's. Nate's wasn't bad, just not awesome. Yours is good because she talked about both ranges and gave the specific numbers. I think there's even a more powerful statement. So also, pretty good. I'd even say pretty good, not just good. Who has probably what they think is even the more powerful statement than that? Lindsay, what do you have? Oh, that is powerful because she's talking about whole chunks of data. Do you see that? She said, correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay, you said SUVs end where sedans start. So what percentage of SUVs are below what percentage of sedans? These have a comment. Well, what percentage are all of the quadrants? Or the quartiles? What percentage of the data? 100% of the SUVs are less than what percentage of the sedans? What percent is all of the quartiles? No, all of the quartiles. So 100% of the SUVs are below 100% of the sedans. Do you see how that is a really powerful statement? All of them. But that 1 point. That is the best answer. So Nate's was good. Michaela's was pretty good. Nate talked about 1 point. Michaela talked about a range. Lindsay's point that talks about all of the data is the most powerful because 100% of the SUVs. The SUVs what? The SUVs, what's this chart about? Gas mileage is below 100% of the sedans. What? Gas mileage. Do you see? We made a statement. We backed that statement up with a chunk of data and included the labels for both of them. That's the best statement that we could make about that data. We answered the question, our because included specific chunks of data, not just points, chunks of data, and included the correct label that was in the title. When I talk to you about defending your position using specific details, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about numbers with their labels in terms of the situation. If you don't do that, you will not get full credit. Most explain ones are going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 points, and I'll have a range of points. 1 point will be the answer. If you don't answer SUVs, you picked the wrong thing, obviously. This one is pretty obvious. Then, if you pick points, you'll get maybe 1 other point. If you talk about chunks of data, though, you'll get another point. And if you talk about the chunks of data and the labels correctly, that's when you get all the points. Does that make sense? I will tell you, we're doing this year. We do it in science all the time. Every time Mr. Windsor has you do a lab report, at the end when you make your conclusion, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Some of you aren't getting full credit on your lab reports, are you? Because you're not making statements that are backed up with data that includes the numbers and the labels. Adults that make good decisions can see all of that stuff. I want you to be an adult that can make a good decision. That means you're more likely to lead a happy life where you have money to spend and can solve arguments with the people that you love in a constructive, positive way. Okay? And then you grow up to be happy and hopefully healthy and wonderful. Oh, yay. You're welcome. I'm trying to help you out. Okay? Trying to help you out. Here we go. B. B, I want you again to try. It says compare the most fuel efficient SUV. Where on this chart is the most fuel efficient SUV? Where is that point, Logan? 22. To the least fuel efficient sedan. What's the least efficient? Ah! How can I compare them if they're the same? Zach?
The highest fuel efficient SUV is what
What a perfect way to start. Let's write that part down. The most fuel efficient SUV. He has the label that was in the question inclusive statement. What do we know about the most fuel efficient SUV? Emma?
it's the same as the least fuel efficient sedan.
Is the same value. Could we maybe give that number? Would that make it more specific? Absolutely. Remember, we have labels, but we don't have a specific number. How do you get full credit? You need all of those things. So the most fuel efficient SUV is the same with a value of what? At 22 what? Yeah, how do you write gas mileage? Average. Good, miles per gallon. 22 average miles per gallon. And if you want to write MPG for miles per gallon, I'm okay with that. Or you can write the whole thing out. The most fuel efficient SUV is the same at 22 average miles per gallon. Ah, so the same, that's part of it. But if you can say what that value is, that makes it even more specific. Than what? We're not done. What's the other part that's in there? Than the least fuel efficient sedan. Period. Capital letter. I promise I will mark off for those things on your next quiz. I promise. Which is Thursday.